Welcome back, viewers. Now, in today's video, we will be discussing about the deep Palmar arch. In the previous video, we have discussed about the superficial Palmar arch. Now, we are going to discuss about the deep Palmar arch. This deep Palmar arch, it is an arterial arcade. Okay. So, this is formed by the anastomosis between the radial artery, the terminal part of the radial artery, and the deep branch of ulnar artery. Okay, so this is the arterial arcade which is formed between the terminal part of the radial artery, and it is completed by the deep branch of ulnar artery. If you remember, the ulnar artery, after it enters into the hand under the palmaris brevis muscle, it will divide into a superficial branch and a deep branch. The superficial branch will form the superficial Palmar arch. The deep branch is completing the deep Palmar arch. Okay. So I repeat, superficial Palmar arch is formed by the superficial branch of ulnar artery and completed by radial artery. The deep Palmar arch is formed by the termination of the radial artery and it is completed by the deep branch of ulnar artery. Okay, so it is an arterial arcade. As I told you, it is formed by the terminal part of the radial artery and it is completed by the deep branch of ulnar artery. So let's see how it is actually formed. The radial artery, it will enter the hand. So you have got the radial artery which is entering the hand. So you have got the radial artery which is entering the hand. Okay, it is entering the hand. This is the terminal part of the radial artery. It is entering the hand. It will enter the hand in between the two heads of the first dorsal interosseous muscle. So it will enter the hand between the two heads of dorsal interosseous muscle, and then it runs in between the two heads of the adductor pollicis. So what are these two heads? This is the transverse head and this is the oblique head. So it will pass deep to the oblique head like this, and it passes in between the two heads of the adductor pollicis muscle. Okay, so it will enter like this, and then it will form an arch along the bases of the metacarpal bones. So this will form an arch along the bases of the metacarpal bones like this, and it is completed on its medial side. So this is the radial side or the lateral side, radial side, and this is the ulnar side or the medial side. So it is completed on the ulnar side by the deep branch of ulnar artery. Now the deep branch of ulnar artery, it passes deep to the flexor digiti minimi and abductor digiti minimi, and it curves around the hook of Hammett and it will complete the deep Palmar arch like this. Okay, it will complete the deep Palmar arch like this. So because it is passing deep here, we are not drawing it. Okay, so this is how the deep Palmar arch is formed. So for better visibility, I am just drawing it with a black. Okay, here I'll put a dotted line because it is behind the oblique head. Okay, so I am repeating the course. The terminal part of the radial artery, it is passing entering the arm and passing between the two heads of first dorsal interosseous muscle, and then it is passing between the two heads of the adductor pollicis. This is the adductor pollicis muscle. This is the transverse head and the oblique head. So it is passing deep to the oblique head of the adductor pollicis. Then it is passing between the two heads of adductor pollicis, and it is running along the bases. These are the bases of the metacarpal bones, and on its medial side or the ulnar side, it is being completed by the deep branch of ulnar artery, which is passing deep to the flexor digiti minimi and abductor digiti minimi muscles, and it curves along the hook of the hamate, and it is completing the arch on the ulnar side. So I told you, that is why I told you it is an arterial arcade which is formed by the terminal part of radial artery, and it is being completed by the deep branch of ulnar artery. Now, what are all the branches which are given off by this deep Palmar arch? So, the deep Palmar arch, it will give 3 Palmar metacarpal arteries. So, it is giving 3 Palmar metacarpal arteries like this. Okay. So, these metacarpal arteries, they will travel along over the interosseous muscles, the dorsal interosseous muscle. They will travel on the dorsal interosseous muscle, and they will anastomose with the common digital branches of the superficial Palmar arch. Next, it will give 3 perforating branches. So, the 3 perforating branches, they will pass between the two heads of the second, third and fourth interosseous muscles, and they will anastomose with the dorsal metacarpal arteries. Okay. Next, recurrent branches. So, we know you have got the ulnar artery, you have got the radial artery like this. The recurrent branches, that means recurrent branch, they will run over the carpal bones, and they will take part in the formation of the carpal arch. So, they will take part in the formation of the carpal arch. So, that is about the recurrent branches. So, you see, Palmar metacarpal arteries, they are finally anastomosing with the common Palmar branches of the superficial Palmar arch. You have got 3 perforating arteries which are anastomosing with the dorsal metacarpal arteries, and you have got recurrent branches which are taking part in the formation of the carpal arch. So, ultimately, there is a anastomosis all over the palm, all over your hand, from the dorsal aspect to the Palmar aspect. Okay. So, in between the superficial Palmar arch and the deep Palmar arch. So, by this, your blood supply of the hand is always maintained by all these anastomoses. Okay. So, that is the importance of this deep Palmar arch. So, how do you exactly locate this deep Palmar arch? So, if you take your outstretched thumb, the proximal border, your proximal border will form the it will form the limit for the convexity of the deep Palmar arch. What did I tell you for the superficial Palmar arch? The distal border of your outstretched thumb. So, there is a distance of 1 centimeter between the superficial Palmar arch and the deep Palmar arch. So, here you will have the superficial Palmar arch, and below that you will have the deep Palmar arch, or otherwise we say the deep Palmar arch is proximal, 1 centimeter proximal to the superficial Palmar arch, and its location wise, this is present deep to the long flexor tendons and the lumbrical muscles, and it is present superficial to the bases of the metacarpal carpal bones. Okay, so that is the exact location of the deep palmar arch. So the superficial palmar arch and deep palmar arch are the important blood supply to your hand. Thank you for watching.